The Carlisle stages takes the BTRDA crews into the western side of the infamous Killer Kielder, and this weekend would certainly live up to that reputation. Stephen Petch leads the Gold Star crews away with Conor McCloskey just behind. Richard Sykes and Dave Bennett mark the first of the two-wheel drive crews at the front of that Silver Star entry. 3 stages lie in wait for the crews then this morning, and the rain was still falling. On to the morning stages then, and the day would claim its first victims very early on. Notable ones at that. Conor McCloskey and John Rowan have a great start to the rally, taking the lead on stage 1, but sadly that would come to an end in stage 2, the pair crashing out of the event. It would be a similar fate as well for Charlie Payne and Carl Williamson. They'd be caught out by the slippery surface early into the second stage of the day, ending the event in a watery ditch. So with some of the top crews already missing, it will be down to Peter Taylor and Andrew Ruffhead to lead the way now. The new car only just picked up in the days leading up to the rally, so this would be all about seat time. Clearly though, that was going well with a 23-second lead.
Flat right 6 in, 40, flat crest jump middle, into flat left 6 long over crest, come on, 250. Left 6 half long tightens, into left 5 don't quit, into sudden left 2, left 5 into sudden left 2, 250.
Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson would be understandably cautious. Being first on the road into the tricky stages, they make a good start. Second place for now, but having to pick up the pace in the afternoon if they wanted to catch the leaders. For Callum Black and Elliot Edmondson, it will be third place at this stage. They come into this round with a very strong position in the championship, looking as well to maintain that. They were a little way off Petch, but there would still be plenty of stage mileage to try and change that around. And Luke Francis and John Roberts make a good start to the day with 4th place. Leading the way in the B13 class, the conditions were helping against the World Rally cars, but sadly it would all come to an end in service after the stages. For Peter Stevenson and Ian Windress, it would be 5th place. One of the better starts for the pair this season, seemingly going well in these muddy stages. They were just 4 seconds back from Francis and ready to take that position when he didn't return after service. Wayne Sisson and Neil Shanks, meanwhile, lie second in the B13 class at this stage. They too would be awaiting the afternoon stages, with Francis not returning. Their second place in the class would soon turn to that class lead, 6th place overall on the leaderboard for now. And Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy make a good start to the day. The lead in the N4 class was exactly what they came for. It was all quite close though. The pair were clearly pushing on the stages to keep ahead of the rest of the pack. For Ian Joel and Graham Wood, it will be 3rd place in the B13 class. The Escort providing some more variety as always on the stages. Always a pleasure to see well driven like this by Ian. For Sasha Cackhead and James Aldridge, it will be 2nd place in the N4 class. This event hadn't always been kind to them in the past, but this weekend they were keeping it on the road, lying inside our top 10 with 9th overall. And for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg, it will be 10th place. It wasn't quite the result they would have wanted to start the day with, but they were still going, which is more than can be said for some. Just outside our top 10, in 11th place, it was Dan Moss and Sam Allen at this stage. The times would see them lying in 3rd place in the N4 class as well. There's more frustration, sadly, this time for Patrick Naylor and Ian Lawrence. Their end to the rally would come before service, retiring in stage 3 with rear diff problems. But for Andy Davies and Max Freeman, things would be much worse. They roll the car on this right-hander, much the same as their result here last year. In the Silver Star, it would be the early lead for Dave Bennett and Alistair McNeil. Unfortunately, though, that would come to an end in stage 2. The attrition here in Carlisle continued. So it will be this man, Ashley Davies, with Lee Taylor alongside, leading the way going into service. 3 stages down, the pair would have a 15-second advantage at the top of the category.
Crest pump mid, 60 of a bad dip, 1 left of a jump, 1 left of a jump, watch it, 60, 1 left of a crest, and 3 right of a bumps. 3 right of a bump, good lad, and 3 right of a bumps again, watch it now, 3 right of a bump, 2 left in, caution, double crest, 5 right is left in, back it off, 5 right, good lad,
well done, mate.
5 left, in a 3 right slippy, 60, 3 right tightens.
For Steve Hopewell and Clive Jones, it will be 2nd place. The pair leading the way in the B11 class as well with those times in the escort. Richard Sykes and Simon Taylor round out the podium places at this stage. The times were close, as we've seen so far from the Silver Star this season. In fact, Sykes would be on an identical time to Hopewell, both of them fighting each other and for the lead going into the second half of the day. Rob Dennis and Andrew Boswell lead the way in the H3 class at this stage, lying just outside the top of the Silver Star with 4th place. The times were still close, just a single second back from Sykes and Hopewell. This weekend would be the change to rear-wheel drive for George Lepley and Alex Kirani, out in the Escort after a change from the Fiesta last season. This could quite be George's graduation. 5th place was theirs for now, as well as 3rd in the B12 class. And Sam Billum and Cameron Fair would once again be leading the N3 class. Talking of those Fiesta STs, also leading that ST challenge. The lead there would be okay, but he certainly couldn't back off just yet. In fact, there'd be no time advantage at all in the overall results. Billum sharing that time with David Hutchinson and Jeff Garnett, themselves lying 4th in the B12 class. Andy Davison and Tom Murphy would be struggling a little with the screen misting up. Understandable with all of the water on these stages. They end this morning with 8th place overall, 2nd in the B11 class. And Barry Jordan and James Grattan-Smith have a good start in the B10 class. They lead the way there and lie just inside our top 10 with 9th place in the category. Meanwhile, rounding out the top 10 would be Alistair Curry and Stephen Brown, 2nd place in the N3 class and in the Fiesta ST Trophy. This event, thankfully not quite as far for the pair to travel from Mull as the rest of the season had been so far. Just outside the top 10, it will be 3rd in the B11 class for Tony Williams and Karen Phelps, happy enough with the pace over the morning stages. Finley Retson and Tom Hind take up 3rd in the N3 class now. Finley only just passing his driving test in the days leading up to the rally. Of course, his junior rally experience making things a little easier for him and making him a much more experienced driver than most of them out there on the roads. And for William Hill and Richard Crozier, it will be 2nd place in the B10 class now. They probably would have liked to have been higher, but this was something to work on through the afternoon stages, something to fight for in these treacherous conditions. It wouldn't be a good day for the Dobson family. David Dobson and Ocean Owen would make it as far as stage 2 when they put the car off the road and into a ditch. And stage 2 would also be the end of the road for Nick Dobson and Steve Pugh, themselves ending the event in much the same way, after some issues with the windscreen wipers. The 1400s wouldn't be any different to anyone else this weekend. Dave and Freddie Brick, the early leaders there, but they come to an end with a broken drive shaft in stage 2. That would leave the lead of the rally in the hands of Rob and Michael Evitt. But it wasn't plain sailing for them either. The suspension trying to make a bid for freedom through the bonnet of the car through the morning stages. For Richard Cole and Matthew Nichols, it would be 2nd place in the category. Sadly, that wouldn't last long. The rear diff giving up in the first stage after service. The attrition rate here in the 1400s just as high as we'd seen in the Silver and Gold Star. For George Morrison and John Quintrell, it would be 3rd place for now, 46 seconds back from Cole ahead and lying 2nd in the 1400 C class. And we'd see bad luck for Chris Powell and Jim Lewis. A rare mistake. They go wide on this bridge, getting stuck and losing over 8 minutes trying to get the car going again, eventually ending the morning with 4th place. There will be worse luck still to come for some of our competitors in the 1400s though. We lose Carl Davies and Richard Jones when they stop in stage 2. Frustrating for such a great category, Rally First wasn't well represented this weekend. Leading the way there though from the start would be Bart Lang and Sinclair Young, winners of the previous round, looking to make it 2 in a row this weekend. A job that will be made a lot easier with the loss of Jonathan Pickering and Simon Broom. The pair would join many others in the ditches around the Newcastleton stage, unable to get going again and ending their day prematurely, leaving nobody to chase Lang down for the lead of the Rally First category. All he had to do was keep it on the road. But of course, as we've seen so far, that is easier said than done. So with the morning stages complete, it will be the lead overall for Peter Taylor. Ashley Davies looking hopeful for his first Silver Star victory overall too. And with a depleting field, it will be a case of who was even there at the finish in the 1400s. 2 more stages await the crews then, including a second pass of the Ash Park stage. On to those remaining stages then, and indeed there will be nobody to chase down Bart Lang and Sinclair Young in their lead of the Rally First class. They take the points this weekend on what still had been a challenging event for the pair.
What a fantastic result, and yeah, Killer Kielder was at its best today. It took out a lot of great drivers, nearly us included. Did give us a puncture along the way, which is all part of the fun, and it's actually my first career puncture, so we had to change that on stage. We lost 4 minutes, so I don't think our overall result is that good, but we were the only ones to finish in class, and I think that's a testament not so much as to the small class size, but more to the fact that we worked really, really hard preparing the car, and we worked really, really hard to keep it on the island. So I think that's a real testament to the overall team and the work we've put in just tirelessly. So I'm absolutely over the moon. Again, I can't believe it.
In the 1400s, we'd lose Chris Powell and Jim Lewis. After battling on after their earlier issue with the bridge, the engine failed in stage 4, the final nail in the coffin for a bad weekend in Kielder. So with just 2 finishers in the category, it will be second place for George Morrison and John Quintrell. A good result for the pair, who finished less than a minute off the lead. But taking that victory will be Rob and Michael Evett. The suspension issues fixed in service, they get the car to the end, mostly in one piece, to take victory.
It's very good actually, yeah. We had the front strut came through this morning on the left side, so we did this morning stage with the suspension coming up where we had to, it was only holding in by the bonnet, but we literally got that repaired. My son Joe got it out literally 1 minute before we were due out to our time out, and we just had a steady run this afternoon then, because we had quite a lead I think, so we protected it really more than anything.
In the Silver Star, it will be 15th place overall for William Hill and Richard Crozier. Second in the B10 class, but not quite as high up the results overall as they could have been. Finley Redson and Tom Hind make a good debut in the championship this weekend with 3rd place in the N3 class. More than he could have hoped for, only days after passing his driving test. What a story he had for the next day. Tony Williams and Karen Phelps would round out our top 10 at the end of the rally. A successful end to the weekend for the pair. They also take 3rd place in the B11 class. And Alistair Curry and Stephen Brown have a tricky event, but do get to the finish with 2nd place in the N3 class. The pair also taking 9th in the Silver Star with that result as well. A puncture in the final stage of the day wouldn't help the times for Andy Davison and Tom Murphy, but they do at least manage to get to the finish without too much time lost, ending the rally with 2nd place in the B11 class and 8th in the category. Meanwhile, it will be another great finish for Sam Billam and Cameron Fair. They take another victory in the N3 class with that result, which also puts them a step closer to that ST trophy for 2017. And there will be yet more attrition to come. We lose George Lepley and Alex Kiorani when they stop in stage 5. The times up to then were good. A great first run in the Escort in the top of the Silver Star times. Clearly, the time spent in that Fiesta ST trophy, well spent for George. So with the loss of Lepley, it will be David Hutchinson and Jeff Garnett taking 3rd place in the B12 class at the end of the rally, as well as 6th overall. Barry Jordan and James Grattan-Smith gained some pace in the afternoon in that Avenger to end the rally with 5th place overall and of course take the B10 class victory. For Steve Hopewell and Clive Jones, it would be the B11 class win, sadly dropping down the overall times a little and having to settle for 4th place by the finish. Rob Dennis and Andrew Boswell move up the leaderboard, taking the final step on our Silver Star podium this weekend. Clearly pushing and lucky to keep the car on the road with these kind of small mistakes. The times at the top, as we'd seen all day, throughout the field actually, were close as physically possible in fact for the Silver Star. Richard Sykes and Simon Taylor reached the end of the rally with 2nd place on identical time to the winners. Sadly for them, it would come down to a tie-break on their first stage times. So that does mean, of course, it's a very popular and first win in the Silver Star for Ashley Davies and Lee Taylor. A long-awaited and no doubt not the last victory for Davies, missing his usual navigator Sam Fordham this weekend, but that seat being kept safe in the capable hands of the current ST Trophy champion co-driver for this weekend.
6 right, half long Titans. Watch the Titans now. Inchy guns. Good lad. 6 left, go. Go. 40, 2 right, 100 up mid. Right into 5 left. Right into 5 left here. 130. 3 right. 3 right. Into 3 left of a small crest. 3 left of a small crest. 60. 4 left, don't cut. 4 left, don't cut. 4 left. Okay, hairpin right.
Yeah, big, long journey up from London. It's a shame I couldn't share it with Sam, so this wins for you, Sam boy. It's been a really tricky conditions today, but we've kept it there, but it's right down to the wire, but yeah, really enjoyed it.
Onto the Gold Star then, on what had been a pretty tricky day between the trees here in Carlisle. 3rd place by the finish for Dan Moss and Sam Allen. That result would be little consolation for the pair as they crashed the car in the afternoon stages and would eventually get going again after 15 minutes behind their class rivals was lost. In the top 10, we'd see Pete Smith and John Millington moving into that 10th spot in the afternoon stages, taking 3rd in the B13 class as well. Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg hadn't been fully on the pace this weekend, they'd admit that themselves, but they did get to the finish and scored some valuable points. 9th place overall on the leaderboard for the pair, and more importantly the points keeping them 2nd in the championship hunt this season. For Sasha Cackett and James Aldridge, it will be 2nd place in the N4 class this weekend. The fight at the top of that class was close, just 8 seconds in it. But taking the class victory this weekend were Russ Thompson and Andy Murphy. Another good result to add to the collection for the pair this season, taking 7th place overall too. Ian Joel and Graham Wood have a great weekend to bring the Escort home in 6th place overall. 2nd in the B13 class was theirs too. They'd be beaten to the class victory though by Wayne Sisson and Neil Shanks. 1st in the class, 5th place overall for the Evo pair at the end of the event. Peter Stevenson and Ian Windress record one of their best BTRDA finishes in recent seasons with 4th place overall. They had a few moments along the way, but they do get to the finish with a fantastic result. Callum Black and Elliot Edmondson end the event with the final step on the podium. A good result for the championship and one that ensures they keep their lead at the top of the points table going into the final events of the season. Stephen Petch and Michael Wilkinson opted for a cautious approach to running first on the road. which would see them have to settle with second place. That result also doing their championship good though, moving them into third place in the standings now, all within sight. But that would mean it's victory for Peter Taylor and Andrew Ruffhead this weekend. The debut in that new car going as well as could have been expected, or perhaps a little better. The pressure of a victory not on their mind must have helped keep the pair on the road and out of these ditches to take the victory here in Carlisle on Peter's home event.
600 over small crests and jumps. Right, big crest jump, 60 turn left, 2 long tightens. 60. Right 2. And short right 3. Into flat left 5. 40, left 6 flat 100. Left 6 slowing, 40 left.
So confirmation then of that victory for Taylor. A great start to Fiesta WRC ownership and a good end to the event for Ashley Davies as well, taking his first victory in the Silver Star. The points at the top of the championship standings still remain close. Callum Black with a small advantage over Hugh Hunter, who is happy with today's result.
Yeah, it's gone good. I mean, 4 days ago we didn't even know if we were getting the car, so that fell into place, and everything since that's fell into place. So yeah, it's been good. I enjoyed the day, steady away on the first one, and then got dug in on the second and just kept going after that.
Yeah, it's been a tricky day. Conditions have been obviously very treacherous in places. After Peter took a chunk of time out, was on the second one, I thought I'd put my championship head on and thought I just need to stick where I am and get a good points haul, and we've managed to do that, so that's the main thing.
Sort of the target to come away with the championship lead. Bit of a shame I couldn't quite keep at the pace of these guys. I mean, they were on a different level today. A couple of driver input issues, had a spin on stage 2 and we had a punch on the last stage there, but all in all we can't really complain, so yeah, pretty happy.
Next up for the cruise, it's back to Wales and onto some classic stages. We'll be there to bring you all of the action. In the meantime, keep an eye on our social media for more videos, behind the scenes footage and live updates as we bring you this exciting championship.